This episode on the Love and Truth podcast confronts the way men and women often wound each other through communication. Women can disrespect men through tone, sarcasm, correction, public embarrassment, emotional intensity, or speaking to him like he is a child instead of a man. Men can make women feel disrespected through harsh tone, emotional shutdown, lack of communication, dismissiveness, silence, avoidance, short answers, or acting like her need for clarity is too much. The goal of this conversation is not to blame women or defend men. The goal is to expose the communication patterns that are killing connection, respect, safety, attraction, and trust.
Welcome again to the Love and Truth podcast with the Nelsons, where real, honest, and meaningful conversations thrive. I'm James Nelson, joined by my beautiful wife, Lanae. And, we want to provide a safe space where we talk about real, honest, and meaningful, conversations, for couples, married, dating, whatever stage you are in your life. This is a place where you can get some real, honest, and meaningful conversations. So we're excited about this particular episode. So look forward to it. Let's go. Let's go.
Okay, well, I'm sorry. I was trying to see where I wanted to
See
start.
where you want to start at?
Yeah, but I know where I
Let's
want to
start right here, though. Let's start right here.
Okay, so this is where I want to start. Today we are talking about who are you talking to?
Yeah.
Okay? People want to be respected.
Mhm.
The reason why we came up with this particular topic is because this is what a lot of married people, single people, engaged people, this is what they're having a problem with,
Yeah.
and that's communication. And the reason why they're having a problem with the communication is some of us, we don't know how to control our emotions,
Mhm.
and some of us haven't quite gained what we need in order to be able to articulate to people. And so it comes off as frustration, or if you're tired of talking to the person about the same thing, it comes off real, attitude-ish,
Yeah.
sarcastic.
It's really emotional intelligence,
Well,
like emotional intelligence and just maturity.
okay.
And if you haven't learned the art of communication, you're going to struggle in a relationship because you don't know how to regulate your emotions. You're not being very clear in your communication.
Okay.
And obviously there are reasons behind that. There are things that people haven't unpacked emotionally, personally.
Okay.
So they're responding or reacting to various situations. And sometimes it's just counterproductive. And so, when I think about who you're talking to, that really resonates because there's some relationships or situations that have come up where people get real grimy and real disrespectful.
They do.
When they're not able to express what they're really feeling.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so
Right.
so no, I'm looking forward to this conversation. I'm looking forward to it because it's necessary.
Okay. Well, I want to first start with some statistics. I think that's good for everybody to know.
Let's get grounded.
A 2026 YouGov survey found that tone of voice or attitude is the number one thing couples argue about, with 30% saying they argue about this. The same survey found that communication styles came next at 29%. Women were more likely than men to say they argue about tone, with 41% of women compared to 29% of men reporting this. Pew Research also found that men are less likely than women to turn to friends, family, or professionals for emotional support. This matters because some men are carrying emotions they never learned how to language. The Gottman Institute identifies criticism, contempt, dismissiveness, defensiveness, and stonewalling as destructive communication patterns that can predict relationship breakdown. And here's the last thing. The Gottman Institute also teaches that the antidotes include gentle startup, appreciation, taking responsibility, and self-soothing instead of shutting down. Now, that's a problem.
Yeah, it is.
That's a it's a problem. And before we just get deep into this, I do want to say, you and I have been watching how It's playing out on social media where you have, these women and they are giving relationship advice. And they're not in relationships. And while they're giving this advice, there may be a man that they're talking to on podcasts, whatever it is, whatever platform.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're emasculating the men.
Yeah.
Right. And then we're doctors, we're therapists, we're all these, we have all these titles, yet have not mastered the art, the discipline of being able to properly communicate. Even if you've said something wrong, there's a way that I need to address you.
Yeah. You know what? And I think also, because one of the things we talked about is like many couples are not just arguing about money, cheating, you know, and all of that. They're arguing about communication styles,
Yes.
emotional safety. People don't feel
Yes.
emotionally safe in relationships, feeling dismissed,
Right.
feeling disrespected, and
Mhm.
feeling unheard.
Mhm.
That's really what most couples are arguing about.
That's what they're
Because
arguing about.
they don't feel like they're being heard. They feel
Mhm.
like their emotions are being dismissed, and that's on both sides.
Mhm.
Men and women are feeling this, um, disrespected, and they don't feel emotionally safe. And so that's really what the argument about. You may be talking about a thing that happened,
Right. Right.
but the root of it is really communication style. How you're talking to somebody. And so
Mhm.
referencing all of these social media experts and doctors or wannabe doctors, or even what's the guy's name? He's passed away now. Um, Kevin
Kevin
Samuel. Yeah,
Samuels.
Kevin Samuel. I mean, just giving advice, but I think he had credentials or what have you. But people were debating about his communication style or approach
Right.
more than what he was actually saying.
Yeah.
It was like how he said
How
it.
we said, and it matters though. It matters because when you are talking to people, you don't want to sound belittling, or you don't want to be sarcastic, because it'll take away from the message.
Mhm.
And this is why communication is important. There are several different ways that when we're communicating, it can't just be me giving words. The reason why, yeah, words are sound, but words also carry energy.
They do.
And that energy that's being transferred to what you hear, it will cause people to shut down, because it's like, wait a minute. I'm not healed, and my husband is talking to me in this way, and I can't even hear what you're saying because of how you're saying it. It's not what you're saying, because what you're saying is true.
Right.
Now I can't even deal with the truth because I'm trying to get past how you said this to me and how that's now making me feel, on top of what already is going on.
Yeah, it's a trigger. And so when you think about, ha- here's a question: have you ever had somebody talk to you in a way that made you stop listening? And you just said it, even if what they were saying was true,
Mm-hmm.
you just shut down.
Yeah.
Because it's a trigger point.
Right.
And you said it, if you're not healed, if you haven't really, processed whatever that thing is that triggers you, and then you hear it,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be a problem. You're going to shut down, and you're not going to be listening
Right.
any longer. And so, that's a big part of it, knowing what those triggers are and setting boundaries,
Mm-hmm.
setting boundaries in
It's a
the
good word.
relationship.
Boundaries.
Because if you haven't established boundaries around how you communicate, what's
Mm-hmm.
acceptable, what's not acceptable, um, you're going to find yourself in situations where there's going to be conflict.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if you're dating, if you're in a relationship, if you're married, you probably should revisit those boundaries around communication, because of styles of communications and how you respond and what you respond to.
Mm-hmm.
You probably need to have some conversations about that.
So, the question, who are you talking to?
Mm-hmm.
Um, are you talking to your husband like he's the enemy? And are you talking to your wife like she's the problem?
Mm-hmm.
Are you talking to your, y'all are in a exclusive relationship, talking about getting married? Are you talking to them like they're children? Are you talking to them like you would talk to? I don't even know that we talk to strangers a certain way. I think that we are less likely to talk to strangers in a unkind manner than we are people that are close, because the people that are close to us, we get very familiar. Right. And now, because of familiarity, which is another whole conversation, but it's dangerous,
Right.
because what it does is you feel like you can just say something to the other party or do something to the other party, and it won't be the same consequences.
Right. And we know death and life is in the power of the tongue. And so we used to hear sticks and stones will break your bones, but words would never hurt. Now, that's just not true.
Yeah.
Words hurt and they linger and they last. And sometimes, many times, when you say something that is vile, disrespectful, demeaning, it's hard to come back from that, because see, those words echo in that person's head or in your head if it's being said to you. It's hard to come back from that. It's hard to just process, because you can say I didn't mean it, but you said it.
Yeah.
You said it. It came out of your mouth. And so I'm just of the belief that if something comes out, that was in your heart.
It was in your heart. I believe that.
You've been feeling like that the whole time.
Yeah. And then we play it out. Oh, I'm just joking. No, you're not.
Nah.
You meant that, because we don't say things that we don't mean. Out of the heart. What does it say? Out of the mouth, out of the heart speaks out of the mouth speaks the abundance of the heart.
Something like that.
No. That's what it is. I just wanted to get it right. Yeah. Because what's in your heart is gonna come out. And it's a lot of it will in abundance is going to come out. Yeah, that's the way it goes. And this is not a man bashing conversation. It's not a woman bashing conversation. This is a conversation about us dealing with the truth and people sitting down and really talking about how you communicate with one another. And if the communication is making the other party walk away and feeling like, man, I feel like a ton of bricks fell on me, maybe something wasn't communicated properly, because something that we pride ourselves in, and I'm glad to say this, we actually sit down and we communicate in a manner that we are sitting down. In other words, we make a decision. We're sitting down to be intentional about resolving whatever the issue is. And also, we are not fighting each other. We're talking about what the issue is at hand. And I love that we can walk away and we both feeling whole. I don't tear you down. You don't tear me down. And this is important, especially when you're married. This is very important. There are some people that don't talk right now because they like, oh, I don't want to get into a conversation because my wife overtalks me. Oh, I don't want to get into a conversation with my husband because then he'll just start shutting down, or he'll bring up every single thing that's happened in the past. People don't want to hear that. People don't want to hear that. So what do you have to say about that?
No, I'm going to say that that's where we are, and we've been here for a minute. In the way we communicate, it's something that we cultivated that. We've always been peaceable in our communication, right? Tone, being respectful, so never really getting out of pocket with that. But we did have to navigate and work through, certain things, right? And it's just as we were learning each other, we knew each other from afar, but like you're in a relationship now, it's like, okay, the temperaments.
Right.
And you're not knowing if I have triggers and I'm not knowing if you have triggers. We have to learn those things and realize, okay, that's a trigger.
Right.
Like that one time.
Like that too. You want to talk about that one time?
Yeah, that one time.
That one time.
This is kind of where this conversation came from, because those were the exact words. So,
and those exact words were, who are you talking to?
So here's a story. So when we first started dating, wife was a flight attendant. Did private, fly with the Baltimore Ravens, and did international. And so when she came into town, of course, come out of the crib, we're kicking it, we're dating. And I'm not sure what, I was in the bathroom and I was shaving. We were getting ready to go somewhere, do something, and I don't know what the conversation was, but I'm in the bathroom shaving, and she's sitting in the bedroom. And what did you say? You said something.
I'm not quite sure
What did you
how.
say to
I'm
me?
not
Oh,
quite sure.
she said something, and so I'm
It
going
was it
through.
was my tone.
It was a
It was
tone.
my tone. It
Oh,
wasn't
oh,
what I said. It was my tone.
it was a tone. So here's the thing. Tone is everything to me. And one of the things that I just it's a trigger for me, and that is disrespectful tones. Now, I don't have time to go through our entire, my growing up and kind of why that was such a thing, but I'll shorten it and say this. I was always a nice guy, always respectful, always looking to do the right thing. I was just raised that way, gentleman and all of that. But for some reason, that was always equated to, being soft, or, you can try to handle me because I was a nice guy. And we're going to talk about that at another point. But I found myself in situations where people thought just because I was nice, respectful, educated, schooled, and all of that, that for some reason you can handle me a certain type of way. So anytime I hear that, it's like a trigger for me. So she said something in the room that I'm like, hey, yo, I'm like, who you talking to? And I had to stop shaving, and I walked into the room like, who you talking to? What you talking about? And we had never had that type of interaction before. But for whatever reason, it came up. And so, kind of, what was the response?
The response was, since you actually, you said something and it was like, wait a minute. And for me as a woman, the way that you addressed it, and you're like, oh nah, we're not doing that. I'm a man.
Yeah.
I appreciated that. And then you were like, who you talking to? And then you said something else, and I was like, nobody. Nobody. And because women do want to know that they have a strong, not man, a strong leader, because that those are leadership qualities.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. Some women, we normalize, not me, but some women normalize disrespect, and we call it being strong. And then some men, they get silent and they call it, well, I'm going to keep the peace. No, you need to be able to talk about what the issue is at hand, and have boundaries around the conversation.
Yeah.
Like for instance, if we sit down, it's and this is not ours, but I'm just giving an example. Hey, no talking about the past. We're not gonna call each other out of our names. It's certain things that you need to set in place so that you can have the it can be a safe conversation.
Right. Yeah, we've established those boundaries on
Mm-hmm.
how we're going to address each other, and it's never rooted in disrespect. Because here's what I know: a man may not say, um, "That hurt me."
Mm.
They may not say that,
Mm.
but that doesn't mean it didn't hurt him.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
When you're addressing a man, and you're emasculating, and you're using certain words, and you're challenging his authority, his leadership, his manhood.
Mm.
Some men don't always just pop off like that. They may not say it hurt, but you best believe they're processing that in a certain type of way.
Right.
And a woman may not say, I feel unsafe.
Mm-hmm.
She may not say those words, but that doesn't mean his silence is not affecting her. So even though you're saying, hey, I just need to be quiet, let me walk away, or not engage, it's speaking.
Yeah. Yeah.
Words speak, and silence speaks,
Yes.
probably louder than words.
Right.
And so men and women communicate pain differently. And so when you're thinking about what hurts a man or what hurts a woman, it may look different,
Mm-hmm.
but you got to be mindful of that. One raises her voice because she feels ignored. Um, One gets quiet because he feels attacked.
Ooh.
You're getting attacked, and so you go silent because you're really trying to temper or control whatever that thing is, and so you get quiet. And because you get quiet, she may get louder, more disrespectful, because you're trying to elicit a response. And what she really wants to know sometimes is that you really care enough to actually address the situation. In her mind, like a man.
Yeah.
So you got this back and forth. He's trying to temper, she's trying to challenge to see if there's something in there that says, no, I'm gonna take charge of this situation.
You know, I'm listening to you, and do you know that one of the biggest things that I know that a lot of women do, men do it too, but mostly women, and I think that we need to be very careful when someone is talking,
Mhm.
and as women, we're trying, I don't want to hear what you're saying. I'm not trying to understand you. I'm trying to get my point across. You're not going to get your point across. I'm here to tell every woman that over talks people just when you're talking in general. It says, the Bible says, be quick to listen, slow to speak, slow to wrath. What does it say? Be quick to listen. So when you listen, and you're not, you don't have this impulse of emotions to just, well, let me get my point across. Sometimes you need to hear what the person is saying, because if you totally listen to their complete argument, whatever it is, it might help you to understand better before you speak. Because I know, my husband and I have had conversations before, and then I'm getting ready to say something, and I don't over talk him, but every now and then I might say something. He's like, well, wait a minute, baby, I'm not finished. So what I've had to learn to do is wait until there's a total, break, or like this long pause, and then I know he's finished, because that's good communication.
Yeah.
And
Or just ask, or will you finish?
no, go ahead.
No, I'm role playing with you. I'm saying,
Yeah.
I'm saying
Oh.
sometimes in that conversation, just simply say, hey, because it could be a pause, because maybe the person is thinking.
Yeah, right.
So before jumping in, like, were you finished before you share? So yeah, they're just ways to communicate.
And couples today are not just arguing about cheating bills or big betrayals. Many are having a problem, and they're arguing about tone. They're arguing about attitude. They're arguing about emotional needs and feeling dismissed. I guess let me ask you a question. What do you think that most men feel when they're sitting down to have a conversation with their wives? I'm just societally. What do you think that men are feeling?
They're feeling or thinking, am I in a safe space?
Mm.
Is this a safe space to really be transparent, vulnerable, open, honest? Is it a safe space? Or is it a trap?
Mm.
Because sometimes these conversations feel like traps being set. And brothers don't want to fall into no trap.
Okay.
They trying to remember. I mean, this, I'm just keeping it real. You don't know if it was something 8 years ago. Now you're in a conversation and you don't really remember what you said. So sometimes when the past is being revisited, men are feeling like, well, man, is this a trap or is this a safe space? Can I really be honest and transparent about what I'm feeling, where I'm at in the relationship? And it's really 50-50, if that. And that's being conservative.
That's being
No, that's not even
conservative.
being conservative. That's being aggressive, because I think it's more 80-20. 80, they feel unsafe, and 20% feel safe.
Mm.
Having real conversations.
Okay.
They just don't. Because we've said this before. Is it gonna be weaponized against me? Now all of a sudden, here we are. You brought something up. I was honest with you about it. Now it creates an emotional response from you. Like, give you an example. There are scenarios where a man is trying to express himself and be honest about where he is, how he feels, whether it's him feeling neglected or not respected or appreciated or valued.
Mm-hmm.
And he's expressing himself. Now, he
Okay.
initiated the conversation. He's expressing himself. And because he's expressing himself, she gets emotional and starts crying about what he just expressed.
Okay. Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, that moment for him to express himself is shifted
Mm-hmm.
to catering and taking care of her, because now she, well, no, I don't want you to feel like that. Now he's trying to make sure she's good. And again, his emotions or feelings are being put on the back burner
Mm-hmm.
because she didn't like or feel good about what he was sharing.
Right.
Right?
Right.
She's crying now. And so now the tears become the object of the conversation as opposed to what he was trying to express.
Can I speak into that?
Yeah.
So what I believe is that for men, I'm not saying to disregard the tears, but what I'm saying is do not let that be a deterrent, because I know there's something about, how when you were a young boy, and if you saw your mom crying,
Right.
it psychologically, I don't know where that stems from, but it can roll over into you being sensitive towards your wife if she begins to cry. But that cannot be the reason that you deter from the conversation or just don't say anything because you see the tears. We were really meant to operate in discernment, reasoning, and then emotions. And if it's done out of that order, then what ends up happening is we have side effects. Because if you use your emotions, then your reasoning, then discernment, and any other type of way, you're going to stay in emotions too long. And we were never designed to stay in our emotions too long. God gives us, he also gives us a blueprint. And in Ephesians 4:26 says, and 27, be angry and do not sin. So it's okay to be angry. That's a real emotion. Do not let the sun go down on your wrath. Okay, you're gonna have a little bit of wrath. That's fine. But nor give place to the devil. And then this is where we give place to the devil when we stay in our emotions too long. And the way that you know that you've stayed in your emotions too long, when we begin to talk, we don't get resolved. And because we don't get resolved, now resentment is setting in. If we don't get resolved in the conversation, now unforgiveness sets in. And then it becomes a whole problem. And then now we're building this house because we failed to communicate properly.
Yeah.
And not only have we failed to communicate properly, but if you shut down, which some men do, is called stonewalling. There's before I don't want to get into that. Is it something you want to say? Because it's something
No.
I'm going to say later about
No.
what I'm talking about.
You was in your bag. You was just
Well, I want to talk about emotional neglect, and I want women and men to know that oftentimes emotional neglect, like just say that James and I, we are trying to communicate and he just shuts down. He never wants to talk. We either fight, flight, or freeze. It's one or the other. And let's just say that he just wants to be silent and not say anything. Do you know that oftentimes if your husband or wife opens up enough, but they have to have a safe space, they'll tell you maybe how their mother or how their father talked to them, or they were not allowed to show emotions as a kid. You know, in the Black culture, and this is just abuse, but your mom or dad, they whipping you and they say, and you better not cry. Well, I'm in survival mode right now. I don't even know what else to do. So I want to cry. Or if your child comes to try to tell you something, and then, you're like, be quiet. Don't say nothing. I'm the parent. Well, now what's happened is they're not now going to go through life not knowing how to show emotion. And so this is what we get from a lot of our men. And then, men, this is what we get from a lot of our women. So this is kind of, I'm giving you an answer to the test of why your spouse, significant other, or whoever they are, they're just silent. They just shut down.
Yeah. And to echo that, a lot of men, they don't communicate deeply because they were never taught emotional language.
Mm.
They
Yeah.
were taught, we were taught to provide, to perform, to fix, suck it up, stay strong, keep it pushing.
Hmm.
Hey man, it is what it is. And they were never taught emotional language because society said that was a sign of weakness.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But in relationships, silence can feel like rejection to a woman.
Yes. Say that.
When you're going silent, when you
It can feel like what?
rejection.
Yes.
It can feel like rejection to a woman. And a woman may be saying, "Hey, I just want you to talk to me." But what he hears is he's failing in some area.
Hmm.
Or that he's incapable, or he has a deficiency. That's, I want you to talk to me. And here's what happens too. And again, there's a lot of context that goes into that. But if a woman feels like her significant other isn't communicating and talking to them, and they feel neglected or they feel rejection,
Mm-hmm.
that just opens the door for Rashid at the office, who's talking, expressing,
All right, Rashid.
communicating. And so now she's feeling something that she's not feeling at home,
Mm-hmm.
not knowing that he may be dealing with stuff as well. So it's you got to be mindful of that, and sometimes we just want to help with the language of communication,
Right. And there is
like
definitely an
how you
art.
communicate. I get all the
Mm-hmm.
love language and all of those things, and I get that, but if you're not in the church, or you just, because this is for everybody.
For
We're not just
everybody.
talking to if you're a believer or not a believer, or if you got some other denomination or religious back. We're talking to humans
Yes.
and how we communicate. And you can go around the globe. I guarantee you that communication is probably in the top 3 of all relationships. I don't care what continent you're on. I guarantee you communication is a big problem in relationships across the board.
Yeah.
So for me, it's like helping men understand it's okay to express yourself, okay, but still stand in your masculinity, still stand in your strength, still standing in your manhood, still being comfortable in who you are,
Mm-hmm.
but also being okay with being vulnerable with expressing yourself. And vulnerability is not a weakness; it's actually a strength that the right one will appreciate
Yes.
and not take advantage of.
Yes.
So,
I totally agree with that. And a lot of relationships are not breaking down because they don't love each other, because people love each other.
right,
The relationships are breaking down because of the communication. We don't feel safe to communicate with each other because you don't want to be attacked, and then I want to be heard.
yeah. And listen, just talking about us, like even our early dating, and I realized this as I went through counseling and therapy, and just unpacking those things that I was carrying around in my little suitcase of not being the nice guy anymore. And I had a whole bunch of stuff in there to make sure that you knew that, I'm not gonna be handled. But no, no, for real. No, like yeah, yeah. I'm not gonna be handled. Like I can be all of that. Respectful, a gentleman, courteous, all of that. But you're not gonna disrespect me. And so
Yeah.
I think part of, making sure that you set those boundaries is to let people know really where you are and what
Mhm.
you will and what you won't tolerate.
Right.
And it's okay. If you want something different, cool. but you're not going to talk to me crazy.
Yeah.
Because I will ask you, who you talking to?
You will. You will. And I think that's a good question to ask when people are, you know, speaking to you in a manner that's disrespectful. Who are you talking to? Because yeah, that's not going to be tolerated. So let me say this. When women disrespect men with their mouths, you can do one or two things. You can bring them closer, or you can make them feel belittled that, you know, they and you get some men, you know, they're used to it. It's normalized for them because they've had their mother speak to them disrespectfully all of their life. And so then they get into a relationship with, you know, a woman, and then that woman disrespects. And then what there is what's called a cycle, a pattern.
Yeah.
And then it's normalized. Because I'm going to tell you something. I have zero respect for women that actually in public. I mean, because if you do it in public, we already know that you're doing it behind closed doors. It's a pretty much, it's a given, right? But I've heard women talk to their dude like so bad that it hurt me.
You know what? And some of that that comes from like unhealed, because
Yeah.
if you're a single mother and you got a son and you're talking to your son like that,
Mm-hmm.
you're really angry at your son's father, because maybe he was there, maybe he wasn't there. I don't know, whatever the story is, but there's something that hadn't been healed from that. So you talk to your son that type of way, and then your son becomes your little de facto man, right? Because he's the everything. And then you get into a relationship and you still think you're talking to your son. You still think you're talking to your son, and this is a grown man, and you talking to him like he is a kid. Making demands, telling him what he need to do and what he not doing, and just correcting him like that is your son, and like that's not cool. And then for the men that have been baby boyed, now you're in a relationship being handled or expecting somebody to treat you like your mama treated you.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, listen, all I'm saying is that you got to recognize where you need to be healed, because you will take that into a relationship and you will talk to, maybe you talking to women disrespectfully because you saw your mom be talked to disrespectfully, right?
Right.
Or you saw your dad talking disrespect, whatever the case may be. You got to go deal with that, because I'm on both sides. I don't think men should talk to women disrespectfully, and women should not talk to men disrespectfully.
Yeah.
If you're in a relationship where that is toxic like that, man, you might need to consider stepping away from that, because it never ends well.
Yeah, because you have, you know, some women, you know, they're not realizing, and well, let me say this. You do have to sometimes tell a woman, hey, you're talking to me a certain way, because she may not. I'm going to give people the benefit of the doubt. She may not realize how she's talking, and people may hear her talking this way, but because she's, you know, got a bulldog mentality, people don't challenge her.
Right.
But I think that it's okay to tell people, you know, if they're talking to you a certain type of way, hey, do you mind, do I have permission to say this to you? Well, do you realize that when you're talking to people, your tongue is really sharp? Some people you need to tell them because they really don't know. But then women, there are some of us, we know. Well, I know I have a mouth on me, so I got to watch it. We know that. And sometimes we can call what's being, you know, correcting somebody, we can call that control, and we can call being honest, you know, I'm just being honest, but no, you're humiliating the other party. So we do have to watch it and make sure that we are communicating to the other party in a manner that is not tearing them down. Because let me just be real clear. Anytime we edify, that person is going up, they could fly. Anytime we're destroying, you get it, that's like pushing them to hell, pushing them down. So that's how you know. It's not hard. It's not difficult at all.
And I'm gonna say this too. And sometimes it's not always like a negative, like the intent is good. You have good intentions.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that, um, we were talking, this is a while ago, we were talking, and you know, we have a son, my bonus son, her biological, 20, was he 25 now?
24.
24. 25. And so one of the things that and you can speak on this, one of the things that I used to say is that, hey, you you need to allow him to make decisions, grow up, take responsibility, handle certain things.
Mm-hmm.
You're babying him,
Mm-hmm.
and that's not going to help him in the long run. And so the intentions is that, hey, I'm taking care, making sure my son is good, but you can also do too much without teaching.
Mm-hmm.
And then here's what I said: you don't want to set him up to where he's expecting women to treat him like his mom did.
Yeah.
Not being, and he's not irresponsible by any means, but the little things.
Right.
No, let him handle that.
Right.
No, don't do that. He needs to call.
Mm-hmm.
He needs to go and make sure that the oil change. He needs to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Stop calling on his behalf. He needs to handle it. So,
Right.
how do you think that dynamic? And I know there's a lot of single mothers out there that are protecting of their sons, and even if you go back years and years ago, just having to protect,
Mm-hmm.
particularly young Black sons.
Right.
You get really protective, like that lioness, that mama bear.
Mm-hmm.
I want to make sure everything is good and done for him.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of, it could be crippling.
It could be crippling.
Getting into relationships, and now there's an expectation that, well, I used to just call my mom and she just did it.
Right.
Now you sitting up over here you always say this. The only name that comes up is Keisha, but Katrina, and you're expecting her to respond like your mom.
Right. And that's, I really believe that that's happened to a lot of young men. And, we as mothers, we do have to hold ourselves accountable. And sometimes that may be a conversation you might need to communicate to your son. You know what, son, when I look back, I see that I made some mistakes in certain places. And, I want to communicate to you right now. I should not have done this because I'm seeing in your relationships because of how I did not allow you to be independent in some areas. I did everything for you when I should have said no about, helping you with certain things, especially when I saw that I should let you go through that because you need to learn a lesson. And I didn't let you learn a lot of lessons because I was God in your life. And sometimes you may have needed to fall, but I was there to catch you. And so now I see you operating in the fourth relationship, and I can see where that may be a lot of my fault.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, but again, as I said, good intention. Who wants their son or daughter to fail?
Yeah.
But sometimes you got to let them go.
Right.
So that, and here's the other thing: communicate with them. And this, because we're talking about communication, really.
Yeah.
And learning how to deal in your emotional, language, and being able to communicate. So, but going back, go ahead.
I just want to give these examples of disrespectful communication toward men. Talking to him like he's a child.
Okay, that's why that's actually what got into what we just talked about.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Correcting him in front of others. Using sarcasm to embarrass him. We're talking about examples of disrespectful communication toward men. Bringing up old mistakes during every new disagreement.
Ooh, Lord.
Comparing him to another man. Y'all, that's a big one. Well, Janet's husband, Greg, he doesn't do that. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Cutting him off before he finishes his thought. Saying you always or you never. And the last one, using tone to punish him before the conversation even begins. We have work to do if you've heard any, and we have to be truthful. And here's the thing. The only way that we can get better and grow in any aspects of our lives is that we have to deal in truth.
Yes.
You have to say, you know what, let me hold myself accountable. I do that. I cut my husband off. I do, belittle him. I do tell him he ain't nothing. And that's a big one right there. You just talk to your significant other like you don't even most time. Well, people talk to animals real crazy on social media now, so I don't know. But I just think it's
No,
all
generally speaking,
crazy.
they don't. Because here's the deal: a man will shut down if he feels like nothing he says is going to be received,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
everything is going to be met with some type of criticism.
Mm-hmm.
And he'll just avoid the whole conversation.
Mm.
So he'll stop coming home. I'm just saying. I mean, you can't talk to people crazy and expect them just to forever take that.
Right.
You just can't.
Right.
And so when you start seeing the avoidance of topics or conversations where you used to get into an argument and now they're not arguing anymore,
Yeah.
they I'm telling you, these are signs things have shifted.
Yeah. When they don't say anything, they just like whatever. So you just said something, and you were talking about when he doesn't come home anymore, right? Because he doesn't want to be he's tired of the confrontation.
Yeah.
Because the problem isn't that he doesn't love his wife. The problem is that we have a communication breakdown, and if you can't talk, you don't have anything going.
Yeah, it's just toxic.
So, have you ever heard, where a man, he has a beautiful wife. I mean, she's bad, whatever everybody's definition of bad is. Then they divorce, and then he ends up getting with a woman does not look anywhere.
So he goes from a 9-10 down to 5-6.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
So we just use numbers.
Let's use numbers.
Yeah.
Let's use numbers then. And so most of the time, people, the woman is left like, she doesn't even look better than me. It was never about her looking better than you. It was about you feeling like somebody cares about me and I feel safe now. I can be vulnerable. I can be me. I found somebody that talks to me and I actually feel love versus disrespected and beat down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What you have to say about that?
No, you just answered the question.
I
Yeah, I
answered
thought
it.
you was gonna
You thought
ask
I
it.
was gonna let you ask?
Yeah,
I was just asking, have you ever heard it?
I didn't, and I didn't get a chance to answer. But
Sorry.
no, but what you said is true though. You'll see a guy or a female. It can go both ways
Mm-hmm.
because at the end of the day, people want peace,
Right.
and they want to feel appreciated. They want to feel valued. They want to feel like they're, you know, worth something in the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
But if you feel devalued, unappreciated, you're being talked to crazy, then guess what? What does the scripture say? I'd rather sit on the corner of a rooftop than to be in a house with a contentious, nasty, nagging
contentious,
woman.
vile woman.
And that's what happens. Men will go find peace.
Mm-hmm.
Forget about it. You can be a 10, you can be a 12. It doesn't matter
Right.
because there's no peace
Yeah.
for that man, whether it be in communication or whether or not he feels that you really value and appreciate him.
Mm-hmm.
He's not going to feel peace. So guess what? And again, those ratings are relative. It's all subjective. So we're not saying what a 10 or what a 5 or a 6 is. We're simply saying using it as a scale
Mm-hmm.
to say that you would ask, well, why is he with her?
Right.
Or why is she with him? He's just like an average looking dude.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Because he treats her right.
Yeah.
He honors and respects her. He loves her, and she reciprocates that. And the same thing for him. He's with her because she respects him. She creates an environment where it's peaceful. He can come home and not be fighting in his home like he's been fighting out in the world. So yeah, he gonna settle into that peace eventually. And what you'll find is that, you know, you run through your 20s and your 30s, you get in your 40s and your 50s. This is for both men and women. You use all of your best years and you probably overlooked your one.
Mm.
Either, you just want to be out there being, player, whatever, because of the odds were in your favor, or you female and you're in your baddie stage and
Mm-hmm.
everything's all put together,
Mm-hmm.
and you can get any man, so you don't get a man because you can get any man.
Ooh, that's rough.
Yeah, so
Good.
because you can get any man, so you don't have a man. But then when you get in your 40s and your 50s, it's like, you know there's a reason why people lease cars. They want a newer model. They go 3 years, 36,000 miles. They done with that.
Mm-hmm.
It's a reason they want the latest version.
Mm-hmm.
But those that really appreciate and value a classic, oh, they'll keep that classic. They'll go rebuild the engine. They'll go reupholster it. New tires. They will, if it's a classic and it's vintage and they appreciate it, they'll keep that for years.
Mm-hmm.
But a car, they'll just trade it in if it's just a car. Anyway, I don't know how we got over there.
No, that's good. That's good. But I want to talk about now, men can disrespect women by, not basically giving them clarity. If they ask a certain question and you're not clear. Also, whenever you give one word answers. So that to women can feel disrespectful. And this is where I think, or I hope, we're helping people to understand, to give language, because sometimes a woman may not be able to say, hey, I feel disrespected, because you're not being clear, and, I mean, one thing that I believe that a man should always do is be clear with your woman as the leader of the house, or if you plan on leading that woman. Good leaders, one of the things is they make sure that to cancel out confusion by giving clarity. And that's all women want. Men, we want clarity. We want to be able to ask a question and you give us the truth. If you can't talk about it that moment, say, you know what, let me pause. And this is using wisdom, not just not talking about it at all, because when we don't talk about what the issue is, I'm telling you, you're causing there to be a breach in the relationship. And when you open the door and you you don't allow that space to resolve the issue, the enemy is surely coming in. We know. I'm not lying, am I?
No, you're no, you're not
Okay,
lying.
well, I just said a few minutes ago, what's the example of disrespectful communication toward men? Now I want to say what it is toward women. No response as a response, men. Using silence as punishment. Saying I'm good when you are clearly not good. Changing the subject when she asks for clarity. Talking harshly, then saying that is just how I talk. Giving information only after she pulls it out of you, making her feel needy for wanting emotional connection. And lastly, calling her dramatic when she is trying to understand what is happening. Now,
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody that's listening to us have heard what we said, but if any of that is happening, I can tell you the first thing that I would do if I was listening to this. I would go to my significant other and say, you know what? I listened to a podcast and I want to apologize. That's what I would say.
Yeah. Yeah, and I, I think it's widely known that women want to feel safe.
Mm-hmm.
They just want to feel
We
safe.
just want to feel
They
safe.
just want to feel safe. And silence, men may make you feel safe because you feel like less is more. The less I say, the safer you feel like you are.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, you pleading the fifth
Mm-hmm.
on the grounds that you don't want to incriminate yourself.
Yeah.
So silence is a safety tool that men often use, but it feels like abandonment to her because now she just doesn't know where you are mentally, emotionally. Like she doesn't know. She needs to know where your heart is. And if you need time to process, just say that. Just say, you know, babe, I'm really trying to process all of this right now. I don't want to just respond. So just give me a minute. Let me just process what just happened. And I promise you we'll get together, we'll talk about it.
Mm.
And follow through on that. But don't just disappear emotionally. And next thing you know, you do that and then you go straight on a guy's trip. Now you're in the DR somewhere, because it's just not gonna go over well, man.
It's not.
So women just want to feel safe and just communicate. Let them know you like you're not there right now, and you need to communicate. You need time to really process and just wrestle with your emotions.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah,
Do you think that couples should actually sit down and really talk about um not feeling safe with each other?
absolutely. Like we have a whole curriculum that we did. It's called the Safe Space Blueprint, and we actually walk through. It's 4 sessions, 3 episodes, like learning episodes per session, and we talk about how to create a safe space in your relationship. So yes, I believe couples should sit down and talk about what does a safe space really look like in the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
You got to talk about that, and not assume, well, I'm here, so she should be safe. No, you can be there and be gone all at the same time.
Yeah.
So your presence is not enough to make her feel safe. Well, I'm here, ain't I? I'm working. I'm doing it. You start calling out the basics. I'm here. I'm paying bills. I'm doing all the things that you should be doing. Now that's baseline stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think so.
Well, you said that's baseline stuff, but do you think that that's why some women feel like they can't talk to their significant other or partner because that statement that was just made,
Feel like they can't talk because
because that's the statement that was just made, that's what they're going to be met with. They're not met with, she may have asked a question and she's just trying to understand something. It's, I do A, B, C, and D. That should be enough.
yeah. So that's probably rooted in he's probably doing all of those things, but he doesn't really feel valued or appreciated,
Ooh.
and it's not stated to him. So now we're in the middle of an argument, and you telling me everything I don't do, but not once have you ever edified, encouraged, showed appreciation. Not ever. I'm not ever. But somewhere in there, he feels
You
like
may not feel that.
he hadn't felt valued for what he's doing, and
Okay.
so
Okay.
it's just gonna unpack. It's got to unpack all of that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, I think that is basically.
No, we had to run this one back. We don't.
Yeah, because we had a lot more to
There's a
talk
lot to
about. But I,
talk
I think
about.
it was good. I mean, because it's a lot when you're talking about communicating.
Yeah.
It's a lot more than people want to admit. And communication is the breakdown of most
Uh huh.
relationships, if not all, that have broken down.
Yes.
And that you have people that have been married for years, right? And they still can't communicate. and they're just there because, we have this idea, and it's okay. I'm not if you get married, I believe you should do everything that you can in order to remain that way. However, sometimes people just don't make it, and it's because they can't communicate.
Yeah, no, I agree with that 1,000%. And I think it's our challenge to everyone is that sit down, have a conversation. We also have a journal. It's called the Love and Truth Journal. It's a prompting journal for couples, married, in relationships, engaged, to use as a tool to help foster communication,
Yeah.
right? Because
Right.
it deals with childhood traumas, family dynamics, previous relationships, and then your current relationship. And so it's just a guide to help you with some questions, just to start the conversation. And it's about creating a safe space. So definitely
Where can they find that?
um they'll see it posted on this reel here where they can find
Okay.
it because
Okay.
we're moving it.
Okay.
But
Okay.
yes.
Okay. Okay. Well,
Oh,
I've enjoyed this conversation,
yes.
and we really hope that we have um helped some people out there to understand and give language to what you may have been doing, or the other party is doing. Either way, we really hope that
Yes.
you're learning how to communicate.
Until next time, this is the Love and Truth Podcast. We'll see you when we see you.